It's me, your host, and tonight we're covering the one, the only, the great old one himself, Cthulhu. As you all know, Cthulhu is one of the most recognized deities in modern paganism, at least by people outside the community. Many associate him with Satanism, despite the fact that he has no connection to the Christian devil other than the fact that they are both frequently invoked at the same time in horror movies. He's regularly called upon by summoners looking to tap into his forbidden power. But who exactly is he? Where did he come from? And why should you care? Well, let's get into it. First off, let's answer the most basic. Who is Cthulhu? In short, Cthulhu is a fictional creature created by American author Howard Phillips Lovecraft. While Lovecraft is frequently credited with creating the entire pantheon of cosmic horror, that isn't entirely true. While he popularized the genre, he didn't invent it. The roots of cosmic horror can be traced back much further, particularly to the works of writers like Lord Dunsany and Algernon Blackwood. However, Lovecraft is considered to be its father, and while he didn't create an entire pantheon, he did create a lot of the monsters we associate with cosmic horror today, such as Cthulhu. In Lovecraft's stories, Cthulhu is described as a monstrous entity of pure evil, a demon god whose very existence is an affront to humanity and whose thoughts can drive mortals insane merely by coming. To close, he is usually depicted as a creature resembling a gigantic octopus or squid, although some sources place him more as a humanoid figure with wings or tentacles sprouting out of his back. Regardless of his exact form, though, what matters is the effect he has on those who see him. According to Lovecraft, even the briefest glimpse of Cthulhu could result in months of insanity before death finally came to claim the witness. His mere presence was enough to reduce people to gibbering messes. So, if encountering him in person is to be avoided at all costs, then why do so many people want to summon him now? Well, that brings us to our second question, which is where did he come from? To understand why Cthulhu became popular, we need to first take a look at his creator, Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Born in Providence, Rhode Island in 1890, Lovecraft spent most of his life in New England. Although he never traveled far from home, his stories were filled with references to far-off lands, strange creatures, and blasphemous cults. As a young man, he wrote prolifically, publishing over 60 stories during his lifetime. Unfortunately, he struggled to find an audience. Even after he died in 1937, it would be another decade before his work gained any real traction. That all changed when the legendary publisher Arkham House decided to publish a collection of his stories in a book titled The Call of Cthulhu. This book not only introduced Lovecraft's work to a wider audience, but it also contains some of his most famous stories, including The Call of Cthulhu, The Dunwich Horror and Shadow over Innsmouth. Suddenly, readers everywhere had access to Lovecraft's world of cosmic dread, and there was no turning back. But while Lovecraft might have been the creator of Cthulhu, the character actually first appeared in a story written by another author, albeit with Lovecraft's help. August Derleth was a friend of Lovecraft's, and like him, he was fascinated by the occult and the strange. In 1926, he asked Lovecraft for help writing a story about a mysterious island located somewhere in the South Pacific. Lovecraft agreed, and together they came up with the tale that would later be published as The Call of Cthulhu. In this story, Cthulhu is described as an octopus-like monster who lives in the sunken city of R'lyeh. He is worshipped by a secret cult and periodically rises from his watery grave to bring chaos and destruction to the world. The story was a success, and soon after, Cthulhu had become one of the most popular figures in the cosmic horror genre. The thing is, though, Lovecraft wasn't really interested in Cthulhu or any of the other characters he helped create. While Lovecraft was certainly a talented writer, he wasn't much of a people person, and that extended to his fictional creations as well. For him, Cthulhu was just another monster in a long line of monsters. Nothing more, nothing less. But Derleth was different. He saw potential in Cthulhu and began to develop the character further. In his own stories, Derleth portrayed Cthulhu as a tragic figure, a victim of circumstances who had been driven to madness by the horrors of the universe. This new interpretation of the character resonated with readers, and soon Cthulhu was being worshipped by fans all over the world. But as popular as Cthulhu was, Lovecraft wasn't a fan of Derleth's stories. He felt that Derleth was taking his characters in a direction he didn't like, and he made that clear on several occasions. Despite their falling out, though, Lovecraft continued to write stories featuring Cthulhu until his death in 1937. During that time, he developed the character further, giving him a backstory and exploring the depths of his insanity. So now you may be asking yourself, if Lovecraft didn't like Cthulhu, then why did he spend so much time writing about him? Well, the simple answer is because he was good at his job. Lovecraft was a professional writer and he knew what his audience wanted. He may not have been a fan of Cthulhu, but he knew that his readers were and he catered to them accordingly. After all, he once described Cthulhu as a sort of inverted national deity who appealed to the morbid and blasphemous side of human nature. Perhaps Lovecraft was onto something. After all, who doesn't want to worship a monster who turns out to be the star of the show? Lovecraft's stories about Cthulhu were some of the most popular he ever wrote, and they continue to be enjoyed by readers today. In fact, Cthulhu has become so popular that he has his own day, which is celebrated every March. On this day, people around the world come together to honor the Great Old One and to celebrate all things cosmic horror. There are festivals, readings, screenings, and even rituals in his name. Now, you might be wondering what any of this has to do with you, and the answer is quite simple. If you're interested in Cthulhu or cosmic horror in general, then you owe a debt to Lovecraft. He was the father of the genre, and without him, Cthulhu might not exist today. In addition to creating Cthulhu, Lovecraft also created a whole host of other monsters that we now consider to be classic cosmic horror. Creatures like Yog-Sothoth, Hastur, and Shub-Niggurath have become iconic in their own right and are frequently invoked by summoners looking to tap into their forbidden power. It should also be noted that Lovecraft wasn't just a writer. He was also a major influence on the development of horror movies. Many of the films in the genre owe a debt to Lovecraft, and his work directly inspired some of the most famous directors working today. And lastly, let's not forget about the impact Lovecraft had on popular culture. Cthulhu has appeared in everything from video games to comic books to music albums. His image is instantly recognizable to anyone with even a passing familiarity with horror, and he continues to be referenced in pop culture on a regular basis. In conclusion, Cthulhu is more than just a monster. He is a cultural icon. While he may have started out as a mere fictional creation, he has since become something much more. He is a symbol of humanity's fascination with the unknown and our desire to explore the darkest corners of our imagination. Whether you choose to invoke him in a ritual or simply appreciate his place in history, one thing is for sure, Cthulhu is here to stay. So that about wraps it up for tonight's episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and don't forget to leave me a like and a comment down below telling me what you think. Would you ever summon Cthulhu? Why or why not? I love reading your comments, so please don't be shy. Also, I can't stress this enough. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I'd love to hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and you can help me do that. Okay, so since we're ending on a bit of a cliffhanger, I want to go ahead and give you all a preview of next week's episode so you know what to expect. Next week, we'll be talking about Black Sabbath, the heavy metal band. We'll discuss their origins, their impact on the development of heavy metal, and of course, their connections to the occult. As always, I'd like to thank my amazing supporters for their continued support. Be sure to follow me on social media for all the behind-the-scenes shenanigans, and I'll see you all next week for another terrifying tale. Until then, remember John shot first.